Consider a physical system that oscillates continuously, changing speeds and arcs, but remains strictly confined within a specific frame. We translate this physical behavior into mathematics. This chart plots a sequence that behaves identically, highly erratic, oscillating indefinitely, and never converging. Standard limit techniques fail. If we apply an epsilon tube to capture the tail, it cannot hold the data. Terms simply bounce out. To extract meaningful information from a sequence that oscillates forever, we need a new framework. Instead of looking for a single point of convergence, we can capture its long-term boundaries using the limit supremum and limit infimum. Establishing rigorous boundaries for these oscillating sequences provides the structure needed to apply the logic of analysis to erratic behavior. Before we can define the absolute ceiling or floor of a sequence, we first have to collect all the different points it attempts to approach along the way. In Principles of Mathematical Analysis, Walter Rudin formalizes this process. He defines a set, capital E, as the complete collection of all subsequential limits of a given sequence. To visualize set E geometrically, look at this split view. On the left is our oscillating sequence, and on the right is a vertical number line. Isolating a specific subsequence, we trace its convergence point and drop it onto our number line. We repeat this for every converging subsequence. Once extracted, we group these limits together. This collection on the number line is set E. With set E mapped, the boundaries become obvious. We define S star as the supremum, or least upper bound, and S asterisk as the infimum. The sequence's long-term behavior is now bounded by an absolute ceiling and floor, derived directly from the limits of its own internal subsequences. Defining the supremum establishes a boundary, but proving it actually constrains the sequence requires a formal mechanism. That mechanism is theorem 3.17. Look at the text of the theorem. It establishes two required properties, A and B, which give the upper limit, S star, its analytical power. Let's map this. Property A states that S star is an element of set E. It is an actual, reachable subsequential limit that a subsequence converges exactly toward, rather than an arbitrary mathematical ceiling. Property B introduces a test. If we choose any real number x strictly greater than S star, there exists an integer n where, past that point, the entire sequence stays below x. Eventually, every term falls strictly below that red line. Intuitively, this means the sequence can visit its absolute ceiling infinitely often, but it cannot sustain any behavior above it. Theorem 3.17 separates a true upper limit from a standard upper bound. It guarantees that S star is the tightest possible ceiling that the long-term behavior of the sequence cannot pierce. Let's test this model against the specific examples Rudin provides in the text. Look at example 3.18b. The mathematical formula defines a sequence alternating signs while approaching a boundary. Plotting this sequence reveals two distinct paths. The even terms form a curve approaching +1 from below, while the odd terms form a curve approaching -1 from above. Our limit supremum is exactly 1, and our limit infimum is exactly -1. Now consider example 3.18a, a sequence containing all rational numbers. Because it visits every rational point on the real line, its set E encompasses everything. In this case, the limit supremum is positive infinity, and the limit infimum is negative infinity. This leads to the ultimate connection defined in example 3.18c and theorem 3.19. What happens if the absolute ceiling and the absolute floor are the exact same number? If we take a sequence bounded by an upper limit and a lower limit, and we squeeze those boundaries together until they merge into a single value, the sequence is forced to converge tightly onto that single line. Strict convergence is not a separate mathematical concept. It is merely a special case where the envelope of oscillation shrinks to zero. Returning to our original oscillating sequence, we can now apply our completed tools. By drawing the upper boundary line and the lower boundary line, we wrap the erratic behavior in a distinct envelope. The limit supremum definitively describes the largest possible long-term behavior of the system. The limit infimum definitively describes its smallest possible long-term behavior. By mapping set E, we can extract stable, predictable boundaries from sequences that completely lack a standard mathematical limit. These limit operations transform oscillation into predictable, rigorous boundaries, forming the bedrock of advanced real analysis. To explore the proofs behind these bounds, review Chapter 3 of Rudin's Principles of Mathematics.